I think a lot of people misjudge Alien 3 in the sense that this film isn't about the aliens this time, it's about Ripley.
Yeah.
The first one was about everything because it was about, the first film was about, you know, the alien and the crew, but no one knew Ripley was going to be the hero at that point until she was. Then Aliens was all about, you know, the alien's life cycle and all that, and Ripley trying to regain her family and trying to get something for herself. In a sense, and trying to save others. Whereas Alien 3, she's just out for herself. She's basically just saying, do you know what? Fuck this world. I'm gonna save the human race at the same time, but I've got nothing left to lose. Like,
yeah,
I've got to make
everything.
It's a very religious sort of look at it, but the whole film's got full of religious symbolism because it's the way to end the trilogy. Like, it's a way to end this character. And again, they take, like the power load at the end of Aliens, they take something so out there, like the idea of people running around and killing themselves in order for, you know, them to trap this thing and kill it.
Yeah.
And they sell it to you in the universe with this horrible, dank setting.
Yeah.
And this,
like,
this really realistic. Like, even the setting just seems very plausible. Like, you could just go there. Like, it feels like it's out there in the universe, just existing. Because, again, there's no laser guns. There's no, you know,
fucking ice cream.
Fucking ice cream. Yeah.
But like with this as well, is it's not. That's the thing. It goes a step further. You know, you have the lived-in future, but now you have the forgotten future.
You have the place that was existed before. Well, probably after Alien.
Yeah,
but like before.
But this is a place in the future that
that's
the future has forgotten. So even to us, it still seems futuristic, but
so
they've even forgotten it in the future, so it is run down and decrepit, but a futuristic run down and decrepit, which, you know, obviously is like kind of, you know, imagine looking at the ruins of like a castle and thinking, you know, oh, that was way in the past. You know, that's obviously what the future people in this universe think of this place, that, you know, it's just this rundown arse end of nowhere, but that is where the battle for the future of the human race is for.
That's so true.
You know, it's so bizarre, but so plausible. Like you say, you know, it's so believable that this sort of thing could be happening here.
This is obviously the biggest complaint with Alien 3 is, how did the egg get there? Why are the cryotubes different? And the ambiguous sort of editing that is very confusing as to what's actually going on. Like, what started the electrical fire? Was it the acid, or was it something else? Like, it's all there. Like, a lot of people say, and these are some of the justifications for it. I'll get onto how I think the egg got on the ship in a minute. But you can see the cryotubes there, like on the film now. He wanted them to be exactly the same as the ones from the first film.
Yeah, like
he didn't like the bent sort of look to the ones in Alien, so they just changed them. That's what really happened. I'm not delusional. I know how they made the movies. They chose those designs for that, and that's a stylistically chosen. Which makes it easier to have this as a standalone film, but I like to put it with the other ones. And the difference is, like, because the editing's so choppy in the start, a lot of people tend to say that's Ripley's memory of it. It's a dream. It's a dream. It's like a dream sequence, and that wouldn't be put past an Alien film, because Aliens introduced the first dream sequence of her dreaming of the alien coming out. And she's constantly dreaming in the second film, like waking up in cold sweats. So I like the idea that, so they probably got ejected into another sleeping pod, like we see in the god-awful game Alien Clone Marines. Like, story-wise, not like gameplay. So
I've got a few fucking points.
Yeah, we'll address that in the last video when we sum up. We'll talk about like other things in the franchise, but like, you know, I like to think, it's all a mess because that's how the event was going down. Like,
I mean, you can see her kind of almost waking up, can't you, at some point? So you see her semi-conscious almost, you know. And so I mean, it would make total sense if, you know, if instead of them ejecting the entire cryopod into the EEV, you know how they tilt them up and they slide down. I mean, what if it was only a small compartment that they were held in, and then that just put them into another cryo chamber? I mean,
but what if, like, they went to sleep and then woke up and went, oh wait a second, the life support machine is damaged here, or something like that.
And
they moved to another section of the ship.
I mean, I think, but that would make sense, but I don't think that.
But they never explain it, so it's just that's pure speculation.
The thing is, I don't think that kind of emphasises the kind of like vulnerability of them being in cryosleep. I don't, if they woke up and thought, fuck, these ones are wrecked, we're going to have to get into these other ones. I think that doesn't highlight. First, it doesn't highlight the danger that is inherent in stasis. The fact that she has stasis sickness from being wrenched out of a cryotube without being properly woken up. It's. I don't think that would have done the urgency with which the EV was jettisoned. The fact that there's a fire when everything is just about to go. You're so close to dying. There's no time to wake you up. You have to just get off the ship as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
And that means that gives the opportunity for the alien to infiltrate into where Ripley is basically hiding, I guess. It gives it the opportunity that it needs to exploit weaknesses, which is basically the alien's biggest kind of strength, really.
Yes.
And that's why I think where that probably would work so well if they woke up to swap into a different cryo.
Yeah, okay, that was just like a throwaway sort of theory. When you said that the way they wake up and feel sick, I was like, yeah, okay. That's just another theory, but I'm just with the fact that, it's all ambiguous, but they probably got moved into the EV. They got moved into different cryotubes, essentially.
Yeah, perhaps, if the ones on board the Sulaco perhaps weren't rated to be crash landed into a planet like.
But the thing is, the old argument against this is the fact that the opening shot of them asleep before they're moved into the EV. They're in those.
Yeah, already in them. Yeah.
Who knows? It's just design wise, but that doesn't. That's never really judged. It is retconning the design of something. And that is always really annoying in a franchise like this.
Especially for such a throwaway reason.
To me, the cryotubes annoy me more than anything else in this movie. That's it.
Because there is no explanation for it. You can't explain why they are mysteriously in a different kind of stage point. I mean, in the game Colonial Marines, they don't. I don't think they even answer it in that.
They do. They
design it, because in the design of the cryopods, they're still the same ones that they are in Thingamajig,
unless it is Ripley's dream and she's remembering that specific shot differently.
I don't know now. There's still just no fucking way to explain it.
There's straws. I want to clutch some more.
Yeah, you only keep the straws. Yeah, there is just no way that you can explain it, which is
that's my biggest complaint, guys. That is my.
You can because the alien egg. That's plausible. You can think.
Okay, here's my.
So, let's go into that.
Okay, here you go. Now, this only applies, and I've explained this on AVP Galaxy, and people have argued against it, and people have actually said that they liked it, and, good on you. This is the way I see it going down, okay? And this is for all those who find it too confusing. If I go on a rant here, and I confuse you, I'm sorry.
Do it.
Okay, in the assembly cut, okay, we see two face huggers in the assembly cut. We see a normal one that we know climbing over the cryotube, and we see Murphy holds up one, the queen face hugger, or the super face hugger, whatever you want to call it, that has that huge shell on it.
And the spines and all that.
Yeah. Exactly, so that means there are two face huggers. Now, the idea, someone brought a picture up, and this is an idea that I didn't come up with, but I've sort of expanded on. The idea that when the queen was leaving the hive, one of these face huggers, with the thing on its back, carried an egg. Now, the egg in Alien³ at the beginning is notably smaller. They've noticed through people studying that shot. Is notably smaller than a normal egg. So it could essentially be, and that face hugger, if you look at when Murphy holds up, is massive. How else would it have infected the ox in the assembly?
Yeah, that is, it's absolutely
it's huge. So my idea is that when you look at the alien hive, the queen's hive, all the eggs are randomly placed, yet she seems to be fixed in one area, with her egg sac fixed in one area. Now, aliens could have picked them up and moved them. Obviously that could happen. But what if one of these face huggers moved the eggs as well and moved them into... They were designed to move them into secret locations, like the place on the Sulaco. When you're in a desperate situation, you need to hide an egg where an alien can't get to. Who else better to move it than a face hugger?
Yeah.
And so this face hugger climbs onto the Queen on her back spines, because you never really see her back spines properly, and there's a lot of room in there. So as she's leaving the hive, when she gets onto the when she's on the dropship and she gets up to the Sulaco, while that's all going on, this facehugger basically, like a hermit crab, just carries that egg off and hides the egg and glues it to the wall, because they're aliens, they glue everything to the wall. Glues it to the wall, I don't know, through saliva or whatever the little facehuggers have. Glues it to the wall, waits there, that egg hatches, impregnates Ripley, tries to impregnate Newt, cuts itself on the glass, which causes the electric fire. The EV, along with that remaining facehugger, crash lands on the planet, and that facehugger, the big one, goes off and impregnates the ox. That's my theory. To me, that's what happened. There's no one out there in the filmmakers or when they were writing it that's actually what happened. It's a mess of editing. But through that mess of editing is an actual, to me, a cohesive,
plausible explanation.
The only way this is plausible, though, is through a fan theory that the egg is carried on the back of the facehugger. But why that facehugger, the one that doesn't impregnate Ripley, by the way, in the assembly cut, so it doesn't impregnate a queen inside her, that one impregnates the runner inside the ox. So why does that facehugger look so different? To me, it's because it carries the egg. It carries the egg up into the corner, and hides it.
There is, similar to the whole the cryotube, there is, from what you learn from the films, there is no explanation as to why it should. There's no reason.
There's no.
That's where the problem
is. Bad writing, and it's all design and
that's why you have to then think up your own theories. If you want it to make sense, you have to think beyond what you see.
Because on one hand, people knock Alien³ for a lot of things, like the prisoners and which we've still got to get to, the prisoners, the egg, the killing Newton Hicks, but it's a very few things that people are saying are rubbish compared to a lot of things that a lot of people say are good. And that's just my opinion is that this one random egg on the ship, if you don't like that, fair enough, that's bad writing, but it shouldn't justify a hatred for the rest of the movie if you enjoy the rest of the movie.
Yeah, it's totally
there are some people out there I know and I've spoke to who say they really don't like Alien³ just because of the egg, and you're like, well,
yeah, what?
Don't you like the rest of the film? And it's like, well,
it's the same thing with moral absolutism. For example, if someone has done good all their life but have done one or two bad things, then in my particular way of thinking, it's stupid to completely, condemn that person because of one or two silly things they do. I mean, this is obviously.
Well, it goes into religion. It's like if you make a sin and you don't repent for your sins, you're going to burn it, and you don't make any other sins, you're going to burn it out for eternity. Is that a just cause of justice? It's not really.
It's obviously they can't like the film. Obviously you have to make the choice to overlook those things. You can't.
I don't even overlook them. I just go, well,
it might have happened this way.
It might have happened this way. And in my own personal canon of the movies, the way I explained that the two facehuggers worked together to get that egg onto the ship, or the one facehugger got the egg on the ship, impregnate all that. To me, that's what happened. To me, that I watched this film, that's happened. It doesn't take me ages to think about it. It's an instant thought.
You just assume that that's how it's got there.
Because the evidence is there on screen with that big facehugger, the normal one, where the egg is placed, the size of the egg, and the fact that the Queen was on the ship.
Yeah. I think that it's really the problem. I understand. I totally get the problem people have, because it's the very setup for the film is nonsensical unless you think up a reason why it makes sense.
Yeah, and
so that's because it's not just a minor thing. It's not like saying, Ripley has a scar on her face because, she was attacked by, I don't know, like something that doesn't have much of an impact on the story. Something that's not important.
Yeah.
But the problem is the actual setup for the story, the root of the story itself doesn't make sense,